Hey everybody, welcome to this month's episode of Ask Us Anything. Thanks for sending in all your questions and let's get straight to it.
Hey guys, a common question I get a lot in my lessons is talking about plectrum types, plectrum sizes, asking which ones should you buy, which ones should you use. And truth be told, there's no really wrong or right answer for this. It's all about your preference. Now, if you're a beginner, you'll probably just start off with an ordinary size, like a medium, maybe a Dunlop sort of size plectrum, which is fine. Get used to that and then go to some shops and just buy some smaller ones, harder ones and softer ones, and then try which ones you want to use. I'm just going to just show you my personal preference basically, which is quite small, and I always like mine to be pointed and hard. The reason for this is so when you come to play guitar, if you want to try and play a soft song, then you should use to learn a hard plectrum and learn to play softly with this. Because sometimes if you have a soft plectrum, it's hard to play really hard or aggressive on the guitar. But like I said, it's completely up to you how you use these. So don't be afraid of asking maybe someone in the shops or going in a music shop. There are plenty of that out there. There's like wooden ones, metal ones, whatever you feel like. Just try them out. I will say, if you find your perfect plectrum, it does improve your probably feel in your playing. The more you feel comfortable and relaxed in your rhythm hand, it's going to increase how you play quite dramatically. So yeah, when it comes to plectrums, I would just say experiment with them. Don't worry about, there's no really wrong or right plectrum. It's just finding one that is right for you. Okay.
A lot of my students recently have been asking me what's the sort of best size of drumstick to go for when you're starting out. Generally, depending on the style of music, 5A is the go-to size. You can then get wood tip or nylon tip. Me personally, I prefer wood tip, but nylon tip will give you a brighter sound on hi-hats and ride cymbals. If you're playing quite heavy rock, it may be worth looking at a 5B option, which is slightly thicker and more durable. But really the go-to stick, I would say, is a wood or a nylon tip 5A.
Okay, so a question that's been going around the studio from parents and students in the last month or so is the topic of music exams and whether we offer them and whether people can do them or should they do them, which is a whole different question itself. But mainly we do provide exams as an option for graded study. By a number of exam boards, from ABRSM to LCM to Rock School. It all depends on the individual student and what they want to be able to do or achieve. The main question to ask is realistically, what do people want music exams for? There's kind of two trains of thought here. One is the people who want it as a kind of barometer or a kind of reward point after a certain amount of time to see where their skill level is at, and that's great if people want to do it. Some people don't want to do it, and that's equally fine. The other useful thing is if you are currently doing a UCAS application or looking to do one in the future, anything from grade 6 upwards will carry UCAS points, and this can be very useful to help top you up to what you need to get into university. They'll usually give you a series of grades you need to get, let's say 3 C's or 2 B's and a C, and that'll have a points equivalent. Now if you've already got some music exams, like to take for example a grade 7 piano and a grade 6 theory and a grade 8 drum exam, they will already pre-add those points together as a starting point, and then your exams from A-level, etc. would then top that up to make sure you've got the points needed to get in. So that can be very useful, and it certainly helped me because that's exactly what happened with me at college, so they are very useful in that respect. Should people do them? That's kind of a question people need to ask themselves, so it's not really something that we have an answer on really. They can be useful sometimes. Another big question is around graded music theory exams. Obviously this is slightly different than a practical examination because you're not exactly playing a guitar or a drum kit or a piano or singing. What you're doing here is you're applying your knowledge of musical theory concepts in terms of how music is written and understood, and questions around a score that is being given to you. And this can sometimes be slightly simpler for people who study piano because they're used to seeing manuscript in two clefs. It can be slightly more difficult if you're a guitarist or bass player and you're used to seeing tabs or chord diagrams, because you probably won't have a lot of experience reading treble and bass clef, and certainly may never have written it. And it's certainly a lot more difficult if you play drums, mainly because your instrument is not based on having any kind of melody notes or harmony concept, so you kind of need to learn the whole world of that before you take one of those exams. They are useful, and it helps you be able to converse with other musicians using the correct terminology and understanding what's going on inside the music. And again, they can be taken, but don't have to be. It's all personal preference. So I hope that helps.
Thanks again for all your awesome questions, and we'll see you next month.